Good evening and welcome to the 33rd anniversary of the Equality Scholarship Collaborative Awards. My name is Jeremy Lauren and I'm honored to be your MC this evening. I'm a longtime supporter of the Scholarship Collaborative and past president of Pacific Gas and Electric's Pride Network, the LGBT plus and ally resource group. Before we begin our celebration, let's pause to acknowledge those that we lost to COVID-19. There's over 1 million in the US and over 6 million around the world. The past 2 years of distancing and lockdowns have taken a toll on all of us, and many students lost a year or more of learning, socializing, and just plain fun. But tonight we get to celebrate the 2022 Equality Scholars. Despite the extra challenges of the past 2 years, these students have continued to work to make their schools and communities better and safer, particularly for the LGBT plus community. 16 of this year's scholars are graduating high school seniors from Northern and Central California. 1 is a community college transfer student, and 4 are or will be medical students, for a total of 21 scholarship recipients. Since many of you may not be familiar with the Equality Scholarships, here's a short video as an introduction.
Since 1989, Equality Scholarship Collaborative has awarded over $1.6 million in scholarships to recognize almost 400 California students for their service to the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community. Equality is a volunteer-led effort of a group of individuals, corporate employee resource groups, and LGBT+ community nonprofit organizations based in Northern California.
How involved are they in their, communities at school, and what are they doing to, stand up against inequalities for LGBTQA youth, right? Whether it's, small education, it's standing up to bullying. I mean, those are certain things that I definitely look for in a candidate.
I am the president of the Queer Student Alliance at Mission High School, my high school, and we do workshops with students. We have different activities. We actually got a gender neutral bathroom last year. We got 3. And we also have had conversations about gender pronouns and how we should be more inclusive about what we're teaching.
It shouldn't matter about what your sexual orientation is, it's what you do. And so I applied, and I'm so grateful because the Equality Committee, they were able to see all my activism. And I think that it's important to have allies because the battle for equality, it will be really hard if it's just LGBT community fighting for it.
It's really amazing to see the scholars at the dinners. Every year their stories get better. Their accomplishments when I read their applications get more amazing. They're definitely doing a lot more than I did back in 2010. So every year the scholars make more and more impact.
The Equality Scholarship wasn't just about the money. It was also saying that I am worthy of receiving higher education as a young queer trans woman, and especially coming from a small community where only a few of my classmates were able to access college at all. Being able to not only get into college, but also have access through equality support and know that I had a group behind me was really inspiring.
There were people who tried to make me feel like what I was doing for the LGBT community wasn't valuable and who kind of made me feel like my voice shouldn't be heard. And receiving the scholarship in my senior year of high school really reinforced to me that what I was doing was valuable and that I should continue doing it. So it made a huge impact on me and gave me the confidence and paved my path to continue my activism in college and after I graduated college as well.
At school, when I tell people I'm a recipient of the Equality Scholarship, they listen, and I hope that inspires them to continue down the path of queer activism because it is essential and needed.
Beyond simply helping me, however, it will hopefully set a precedent of LGBTQ youths in my community, striving for more than a life of drug addiction or abject poverty, demonstrating that a good education is possible regardless of personal financial circumstances and the still all too real prejudices persisting against us.
Seeing a community of other young queer and trans scholars was really nice. Very often, even in the Bay Area, we as young LGBTQ, etc. people can be isolated from our community. And so being around other like-minded people was really inspiring.
I know we spoke earlier about this is a community that gets told no a lot. And so I can't possibly articulate how much it means to me to be in this type of room where it's not no, it's yes. We're celebrating, we are having joy, we're having pride, especially in all of us and each other, and we're able to celebrate our accomplishments and be who we are and be able to celebrate our identities and ourselves. And so that means the absolute world to me.
Back in 1989, just one $250 scholarship was awarded. This year, eQuality is awarding $126,000, bringing the total awarded since 1989 to more than 430 scholarships worth over $1.8 million. As mentioned in the video, the scholarship program is a collaborative effort. This year, the organizational members of eQuality are Genentech's G Pride, the GSA Network, PFLAG San Jose Peninsula Chapter, and the PG&E Pride Network. Along with eQuality's fiscal sponsor, Horizons Foundation, they, along with many individual volunteers and contributors, make these scholarships possible. Now on to the 2022 eQuality Scholars. There are 2 new scholarships this year, thanks to bequests made to the Horizon Foundation. The Adolph Y. Bermerman Jr. Scholarship is specifically for LGBTQ graduates from the Oakland Unified School District. The first Adolph Y. Bermerman Jr. Scholar is Nuriel Cahigas, who is graduating from the Oakland Technical High School and will be going to UC Riverside to major in Ethnic and Education Studies. As an advisor in Oakland Tech's Youth Wellness and Advisory Board, they introduce workshops around gender and sexuality during Sex Education Week. Nuriel has also been an intern at APAL, Building API Community Power, where they hosted workshops around queerness and identity, worked with a cohort of teachers on how to create more inclusive classrooms, and helped create the vision for its Queer and Questioning Youth site. According to their supervisor and mentor, Nuriel's leadership, passion, and commitment to creating and supporting other high school students within the Oakland community has been showcased during their time at APAL. Congratulations, Nuriel.
Thank you, Mr. Lauren. Before I get into anything, I would like to take the time to thank I. Mendoza, Izzy Villanueva, and countless friends and faculty who have supported me to getting to this point in my life. It's because of their endless love that I'm proudly able to accept the scholarship today. With that said, receiving the Adolph Y. Bremerman Jr. Scholarship with eQuality has left me speechless, to say the least. Like many other queer youth in our nation, I've had to hide my identity for so long, fearing that if I were my true self, then I would be shunned, disowned, or even worse by my family. In my immigrant Filipino family, queerness wasn't something that we even acknowledged because they desired assimilation in the US. Finally being recognized and even celebrated as a trans non-binary person has been, again, surreal to say the least. This scholarship will not only help me with the financial burdens that I will face in college, but it shows that yes, the work that I'm doing is actually making an impact in this world and motivates me to take it a step further. For me, I don't just do this work for fun. I do it because sometimes it's the only way that we can survive as queer people. We're still many steps away from a world of liberation where we as queer people can exist as we are, but if I can even just make one person's life easier, then that's enough impact for me. I continue this advocacy as a nod to my elders who have sacrificed so much more to get us to a place where I can even think about living past the age of 20. I do this work because it's the community that has supported me in my most difficult times, and I want to pay that work back. I plan to further this advocacy and continue creating and facilitating workshops at the LGBTQ Resource Center at Riverside. I'm excited to not only further my own education, but be able to cultivate a space where more folks can feel safe as they are. With the help of eQuality, I can make my own dreams of becoming an educator, helping educate and be the support for queer students a reality too. Again, thank you for making a non-binary trans Filipino American like me feel like someone who's worthy of something much more.
The second Adolph Y. Bremerman Jr. Scholarship goes to Sienna Kilpatrick, who is graduating from Skyline High in Oakland and will be going to UC Berkeley to study environmental engineering. Sienna was president of her school's GSA club. She trained teachers in her middle school on how to be better allies led the charge to get GSA members to present on queer identity and allyship in ninth grade sex education, and collaborated on a flyer about allyship and queer youth rights that's been posted in the high schools throughout the school district. According to the club advisor, around campus, the culture has moved distinctly towards a culture of support for LGBTQ plus students, and Sienna has been a part of that transition. Congratulations, Sienna.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lauren. I am honored to be the recipient of the Adolph Y. Bremerman Jr. Equality Scholarship. First, I would like to acknowledge my friends and chosen family. The value of community-based support is one I cannot stress enough, and my friends have cemented the true impact of that on a young teenager. They have shown me how to be caring, loving, open, and kind to the best of my ability. I would not hold the values I do today if it weren't for them. Next, I would like to thank my family for always accepting me with open arms. I am extremely aware of how privileged I am to have a support system who I know will always be there for me. My parents raised me going to all the rallies and always fighting for what I believe in. They taught me the value of having strong core morals, from queer pride to environmental and social justice. They've built the groundwork for everything I hope to achieve through my education and the care and support I hope to give back to my community. My main goal through my education is to learn as much as I possibly can so that I can pass that knowledge on to people who cannot afford or do not have access to a prestigious college education. This scholarship is helping me reach my goal, as I will be able to focus more of my time on community outreach and support instead of working and paying off my tuition. I am beyond thankful for the opportunity presented to me this evening, and I am so proud of my fellow recipients. I cannot wait to see what you all do in the future and the power you bring back to our community. Thank you all for what you do.
Like Sienna, most of our high school graduate scholars are leaders of their school's Gender and Sexualities Alliance or similar clubs. GSAs are similar to other high school clubs, but unite LGBT plus students and their allies to make schools safer and more accepting for LGBT plus students. The other new scholarship this year is the Lester Marks Scholarship. I'm pleased to introduce the recipient, Xavier Ramirez. Xavier is graduating from Early College High School in Fairfield, where he founded and has been the president of the GSA Club. In addition to creating space to create community and hosting events, the club has gotten gender-neutral restrooms and created a non-discrimination policy that's posted in all classrooms. For his senior project, Xavier worked with the Solano Pride Center to host an art exhibit for queer youth throughout the county. Xavier is heading to the Pratt Institute in New York to study painting. According to the GSA Club advisor, Xavier is a student who is committed to social justice and who thinks critically about the roles he plays in his actions, involvements, and even in his art. Congratulations, Xavier.
Thank you, Jeremy, for that very kind introduction. I really appreciate it. I just want to say how humbled I am to be gifted this scholarship. It truly means the world to me. And I would first like to start off by thanking, of course, my parents for being incredibly supportive and incredibly reassuring in this time. Recently, my mom was diagnosed with leukemia, and I would specifically like to thank her for always being somebody that I can rely on because she means more than anything to me. I would also like to thank my teacher, Mr. Boyce, who is the teacher advisor for the Club GSA and helped me get things going. He also helped me get the gender neutral bathrooms and has been a great level of support to me in my high school career and hopefully after my high school career. He's my teacher, but I've made a friend, and there's nothing greater than that. I also would like to thank the committee for choosing me. It's like a noble thing to give money to people because college is expensive and I greatly appreciate it. With that all being said, I'm proud of everything I've done and thank you all for recognizing it.
We lost to COVID one of our co-founders and a former chair of the scholarship committee, Dan Barber. His friends and family have joined to sponsor a scholarship in his memory. To present the Dan Barber Memorial Scholar, we have Dan's widower, Keith Rasmussen.
Thank you, Jeremy. The ideals of the Equality Scholarship Collaborative are as important to me as they were to my late husband, Dan Barber. I joined the collaborative in the late 1990s when I was chair of Kaiser Permanente's LGBT plus employee group, and as Kaiser began sponsoring equality scholarships. To support the important mission of the collaborative, I am now sponsoring a scholarship in both Dan's and my names. I'm pleased to introduce the 2022 Rasmussen Barber Scholar, Mark Liang. Mark graduated magna cum laude from Brown University in 2019 with dual degrees in biology and science, technology, and society. He then worked for 2 years at the Kaiser Permanente Bernard J. Tyson School of Medicine in Pasadena, where he was a founding member of the LGBTQ plus staff and faculty affinity group, and planned the school's first Pride Month, Trans Day of Remembrance, and welcome dinner for LGBTQ plus individuals. Mark deferred his medical school acceptance to earn a master's degree in health society and medicine at the University of Cambridge, where he has served as an LGBTQ plus point of contact. He'll be returning to Southern California to study at the UC Irvine School of Medicine. He's already working to create the school's first gender diversity elective. One of his colleagues at the Kaiser Permanente Medical School states, Mark absolutely understands the importance of visibility and representation, even at a personal cost. His work with the medical school is a beautiful showcase for his work as an advocate to highlight the experience and culture of the queer students and faculty members. Even though his time at the school was fairly brief, the profound impact of his legacy will endure for many years to come. Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you, Keith. This has been a long journey for me personally in finding community in my home, in my school, and with my employment. And I was talking to Keith about the history of this scholarship, and I'm honored to join the community of recipients who have received this generous scholarship. Healthcare has always been about equity, and a community is judged not by how one patient is served, but how they lift up the underserved, the underrepresented, and the undervalued. It's always been my goal in medical school to support those voices, and I'm so thankful and grateful for eQuality to help me achieve it. At UCI, I'll be working with immigrant populations in mental health, something near and dear to my heart, and something that has taken me to both coasts of the United States, to Asia, and now to the United Kingdom. I am so happy to be coming back home. I'd like to thank my family, my friends, my colleagues, and the volunteers and sponsors of eQuality who have helped supported me. There's so much work to do, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you, Keith, and congratulations to Kai and Mark. To present our next scholar, we have the chair of the Equality Scholarship Committee and his husband, Eric Hsu and James Chambers.
Thanks, Jeremy. We've been sponsoring an equality scholarship for several years, and it's our pleasure to introduce the 2022 Hsu Chambers Scholar, Dylan Baker. Dylan is graduating from Cuesta College in San Luis Obispo and is going to major in education and history at university. At Cuesta, he restarted and served as president of Cuesta Pride. One of its first projects was to get a rainbow flag mural painted on campus to increase visibility, an effort that took more than a year.
Dylan also was recruited to work on the Central Coast Queer Archive Project, conducting interviews with older members of the community to record and preserve the LGBTQ plus history of the Central Coast region. In his recommendation, the project director stated, "Together with his on-campus activism, Dylan has left an indelible and lasting impression on the Central Coast LGBTQ plus community."
Congratulations, Dylan.
Thank you very much, Eric and James. Hello, everyone. I'm so honored to be here and to be a recipient of the eQuality Scholarship. Before starting, I want to thank eQuality for this momentous opportunity. I'm beyond honored to be a recipient of the Hsu Chambers Equality Scholarship. I also want to thank the Central Coast Queer Archive Project, the Cuesta Pride Club, and the Walt Whitman Book Club of San Luis Obispo. Secondly, I want to thank all the friends that I've made from these groups, in particular Dave, David, Bart, and Tony. I especially want to thank David because he's the one who told me about this scholarship and was my sponsor during the application process. It sounds really strange to say, but the very thing that motivated me to get involved in LGBTQ plus activism and community service was the sheer lack of it at my community college. Other than a web page, there was nothing for LGBTQ plus students. I decided something needed to be done, and it was clear no one else wanted to take on this daunting task. I found members and faculty willing to be advisors, but the biggest challenge was simply getting it approved. I had to go before the school senate and argue why there was a need for the club, Quest of Pride, to be an official club. It was a very close call. Many people abstained or voted against, but it passed. I ran Quest of Pride as its first president for quite a while, and it was amazing and difficult all at once. After a while, I decided to step down as president so I could focus on my academics and finish up my AA and AAT. And that brings me to now. Before I finish, I want to talk about my future plans. Because I am receiving this scholarship, it is helping me reach my goal of studying history and becoming a history teacher. And getting this scholarship has really affirmed that I made the right choice getting involved in LGBTQ activism. In fact, through the book club, I was able to meet renowned San Francisco activist Tom Amiano. Getting this scholarship has provided me a lot of hope about my future, and I just want to say thank you to everyone at eQuality.
Thank you, Eric and James, and congratulations to Dylan. The San Jose Peninsula chapter of PFLAG has a 30-year tradition of awarding scholarships to graduating high school students. 3 years ago, PFLAG joined the Equality Scholarship Collaborative. To present the first of two PFLAG scholars, we have the chapter president, Rosemary Malvi.
Thank you, Jeremy. For those of you who may not be familiar with PFLAG, a little introduction. PFLAG was founded in 1973 by a mother of a gay man, and it's the largest organization for LGBTQ plus people, their parents, families, and allies. Originally, it was known as Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. It became simply PFLAG in 2014. PFLAG is a grassroots organization with more than 400 chapters across the country. As Jeremy said, 2022 marks the 30th anniversary of the San Jose Peninsula PFLAG Scholarship Program. In 1992, we began our program with $500 awards. And for the last few years, we've been giving 5 to 7 annual awards at $6,000 each. The grand total at this point is more than $750,000. Here's a short video about PFLAG.
I initially got involved in PFLAG because my son was withdrawn, depressed, and suicidal, and I didn't know where to turn.
We had to reconcile having our new normal, which was our gay son, with what anti-gay messages were coming out of the Southern Baptist Convention at that time.
My child was the first one to transition in our public schools, and she was pretty badly bullied. So having some friends in the PFLAG community really meant the world to my family.
PFLAG is on a journey of not only educating itself, but educating others so that we can be in a place where we can gain equality for the entire LGBT community.
As an educational resource, PFLAG is the only thing that's out there for families like mine.
I want to bring the message to communities of color and Black and brown communities, and that PFLAG is an organization that can support the community.
We all seek to belong to something that is greater than ourselves. And PFLAG has given me that opportunity.
As a proud PFLAG dad, to be an advocate for my son, who I love dearly, is something that's very special and important to me.
PFLAG made it possible for my family to stay together.
So no matter what other people say, no matter what you may hear from those other people and other places that say something different, don't even give them a second thought, because we love you just as you are.
Baby, you my child, I love you, and you are walking in those shoes. I'm just here to love and support you.
The first of our 2022 scholarships goes to Sabina Birwawi. Sabina is graduating from Cappuccino High School in San Bruno and will be going to UC Santa Cruz to major in critical race and ethnic studies. Sabina has been treasurer of Cappuccino's Sexuality and Gender Alliance Club, designing event posters, hosting drag shows, and presenting on sexuality and the gender binary for the school's virtual health class. She also participated in panels at a middle school organized by Outlet, a program of adolescent counseling services. According to one of her teachers, Sabina's service to the LGBTQ+ community at CAP, the high school, and in San Mateo County has been incredible and will have a long-lasting impact on the next generation of LGBTQ+ youth in our community. Congratulations, Sabina.
Thank you so much, Rosemary. That was really, really nice and thoughtful. I really, really appreciate that. And I really wanted to say about the scholarship, it's been really important for me, and it's been really cool to be acknowledged for just all this work that I've been doing for the last 4 years. It's been really cool, and I mean I didn't do this to be acknowledged, so it's really cool. This is really, really nice, and it makes me feel really good. I would say that like what's probably motivated me to do all of my LGBTQ work has probably been because nobody else does it at my school. We were seeing a lot of issues and a lot of just like a lot of students who weren't comfortable being themselves, including myself and a lot of my friends. And so we just decided to start doing it ourselves and start doing the work ourselves. And that was really, really fulfilling for me. And it's still really fulfilling because I'm still doing the work currently. But in the future, I really hope to do more. Right now I'm working on gender neutral bathrooms at Cappuccino. So I'm hoping that in the future I can do more things like that for the LGBTQ community, and anything that's going to create a more inclusive and happier place for LGBTQ youth, because as a youth myself, I didn't have that. And to be able to be a part of that and creating that, that's really cool. So thank you.
The second PFLAG scholarship goes to Nayeli Duran, who is graduating from Sequoia High in Redwood City. Nayeli plans to study chemistry at Bowdoin College on a pre-med track. Nayeli has been president of Sequoia's Gender and Sexuality Alliance Club for 2 years, helping reach the Latin and Spanish-speaking community there. Nayeli has also been leading panels on LGBTQ inclusion in curriculum and making queer students feel safe, as well as organizing fundraisers for Outlet. According to the Gender and Sexuality Alliance Club advisor, Nayeli's passion for social justice guides them to work with those around them to do deeply impactful work at our school. Congratulations, Nayeli.
Thank you, Ms. Malvi. First, I wanted to thank the Equality Scholarship Committee for this opportunity and their support. With this scholarship, I'll be able to attend my dream college, and I'm incredibly grateful. I also wanted to thank Ms. Quinn, who has inspired me and supported me the past 4 years. She has taught me the importance of authenticity and supported me in my LGBTQ+ activism. What motivated me to do the community service I've done was the support the Gender and Sexuality Alliance gave me my freshman year. Ms. Wen and my queer peers welcomed me into the community with open arms and without judgment. They allowed me to learn about myself and grow, and the impact their love and acceptance has had on me is something unparalleled, and I wanted to give back and hold that same space for other students. In the future, I hope to become a reconstructive surgeon and perform and destigmatize gender affirmation surgeries for transgender youth who choose that route. Thank you again.
Thanks, Rosemary, and congratulations, Sabina and Nayeli. Here to present the next 3 PFLAG scholarships is the chapter vice president, Karen Piazzi.
Thank you, Jeremy. The next PFLAG scholarship is new this year. PFLAG board member Rena Olvang created the Max Heckler Memorial Scholarship to honor her biological father, who left the United States in 1948 to find a more gay-positive life in Europe, first in Paris and then in Geneva. At that time in the US, gay people were subject to violence, rejection, police intimidation, and arrest. Max's parents, Orthodox Jews, were loving but homophobic. Max enjoyed his gay-affirming life in Europe and visited his family in the States frequently. With this scholarship, Rena honors Max's resilience in allowing himself to live elsewhere in peace, safety, celebration, and pride. The Max Heckler Memorial Scholarship goes to Jojo Weller, who is graduating from high school in Santa Clara and will be going to study character animation at an arts institute. Jojo co-founded the Alphabet Club at their school last year and has served as its co-president. During remote learning, they created weekly lessons on queer history around the world. This school year, they spoke before the State Board of Education during LGBTQ+ History Month and organized a pride walk after homophobic vandalism appeared in the boys' bathroom, which led to a meeting with the principal to discuss ways to make the school feel safer. According to the Alphabet Club advisor, Jojo always stands up for what they believe in, and now they have placed themselves in positions to be able to encourage others to do the same. It's a beautiful thing. Congratulations, Jojo.
Thank you, Ms. Piazzi. I really appreciated that. The Alphabet Club was created by myself and Annika Sager, who started to realize how much history has been edited and revised to exclude queer and BIPOC events and achievements. What teenager wouldn't want to learn about a bisexual French spy from World War II who was renowned for her revealing banana skirt and trend starting the flappers? What about the Chinese pirate queen, who, after her husband's passing, took on both men and women as lovers, all the while running the finest pirate fleet before modern history? All these wonderful and scandalous souls hidden away because there was far more interesting subjects, like the financial status of America before the Civil War. This ridiculousness has gone on long enough, and Anika and I have taken the initiative to upheave the status quo, like so many brave souls before us. I'd also like to thank my club advisor, Miss Aubrey. She has been an incredible support for me and my friends. My longest dream has always been to provide a safe place to those like me and those unlike me. I want to give those with differences something to appreciate together and to find support in each other when their families couldn't. Most of all, I want to give next generations a better future to look forward to. My dreams of becoming an animator has only evolved since creating the Alphabet Club with my friend Annika. Now I only wish to create a better future, but also to reveal a more colorfully queer past that the youth can smile back on. Growing up in the religious lens was extremely challenging for me. I was told repeatedly that I was wrong, that I was confused, and that I wasn't a good example for the younger kids. The K-8 Catholic school that I attended was suffocatingly cruel when it could help it. But when I came out publicly as non-binary, the swell of others who showed their support was almost overwhelming. The moment I realized that I wasn't alone, I felt an anger for the people who simply stayed silent, too intimidated by the system to do anything. This frustration and righteous anger for those like the population of my old school has fueled my determination to see that any community I enter, I will fight to be the loudest queer in the room, and that we all deserve to be heard and respected. Thank you.
The 2022 PFLAG Niblock Charitable Trust Scholarship goes to Rory Pilling, who is graduating from high school in Sacramento and will be going to a local community college to study history. Rory has been president of his school's GSA for 3 years, creating student safety resource boxes with materials for mental and sexual health and housing, a mini library of books with positive LGBT+ representation, and hosting a Transgender Day of Remembrance event. According to the club advisor, Rory worked very hard to make our campus a place where LGBT+ students could thrive. Our GSA having such a strong presence on campus made many LGBT students feel supported and valued in our school community. Rory has also performed with Queer Voices Sacramento, a program of the Sacramento LGBT Center to educate the public about the discrimination queer people face while producing art as an outlet for those experiences. Congratulations, Rory.
Thank you to Ms. Piazzi for that introduction. It's strange to think about how this time last year I was a senior in high school. I've spent this school year as a full-time volunteer in an 8th grade math class. My main job is tutoring students and helping out in the classroom. Then after school, I work on planning events and school-wide diversity initiatives. And right now I am working with a couple coworkers to pull off a campus-wide Pride Month celebration. My work within the education system seems to always lead me back to serving the queer community. In high school, as the president of our Gender Sexuality Alliance, I was able to work with people I'm still best friends with to do some amazing things, build a queer library, organize a drag-themed dance, resource boxes on campus, and all of it inspired me to want to continue making schools an affirming space for my community. After allowing myself this year to really think about my future and decide my goals, I have chosen to continue following that passion and become a teacher. Between now and then, there are a lot of steps though. I've already enrolled in my fall 2022 classes for my freshman year of college, and I am excited to find my community however it exists on campus. Receiving this scholarship has meant a lot to me. I'm really happy to announce that between this and the other scholarships I've been awarded during my gap year, I have enough to completely cover through my bachelor's degree without taking out loans. This was my biggest goal in choosing a gap year, and the financial stability, just the guarantee that I can make it through college is elating. So thank you so much to the Equality Scholarship Collaborative, and I look forward to the many years of queer community service in my future.
The fifth PFLAG scholarship goes to Remy Rogoff, who will be graduating from Credo High in Rohnert Park and going to Western Washington University. For more than 3 years, Remy has been a youth leadership team member and intern facilitator at the Positive Images LGBTQIA+ Community Center in Santa Rosa, facilitating groups, planning events and activities, tabling at events, and generally providing support. According to the program director and his leadership coach, Remy serves as a quintessential example of a young person who has taken the lessons learned through his life struggles and used them to fuel his desire to serve others. Congratulations, Remy.
Thank you so much, Ms. Piazzi, for that introduction. I am so grateful to receive this scholarship. I am a student who is fiercely dedicated to my education, and it is scholarships like this that allow me to continue down this pathway that I enjoy so much. It means especially a lot to me that I was awarded a scholarship for my service to the local LGBTQ+ community. For the past 5 years, I've dedicated my time to supporting other queer youth in my community, and it's a wonderful feeling to have all of that work recognized. I first started volunteering because I really needed a connection to the community. I was feeling very lost, and I was searching for a way to feel like I belonged pretty much anywhere. And volunteering with Positive Images gave me exactly that. I hope to continue serving the LGBTQ+ community wherever I am for the rest of my life. I'm lucky enough to work with an organization that has a lot of queer adults and queer elders volunteering with us. So I've been able to see what it can look like to volunteer with your community through many stages of life. I would like to thank the Equality Scholarship Collaborative again for this amazing scholarship. And with it, I will be able to keep working towards my future, wherever that ends up being.
Thank you, Karen, and congratulations, Jojo, Rory, and Remy. PFLAG's last 2 scholarships will be presented by their scholarship chair, Yvonne McGuire.
Thank you, Jeremy. The PFLAG Stephen Crocker and Donald Jolly LGBTQ Achievement Scholarship goes to Maya David Taitanen, who is graduating from Dublin High School and will be majoring in political science at George Washington University in DC. The list of LGBT+ community service activities Maya David has performed is extensive. Here are just a few positions they've held. Vice Chair of the National LGBTQ+ Caucus of High School Democrats of America, co-founder and chair of Bay Area Youth Pride, president of their school's GSA club, and member of the Dubversity Project Group of the Dublin Mayor's Council. Maya David has hosted workshops on allyship and queer history, planned virtual Pride events, brought queer representation into school theater productions, and worked to bring curricula up to date with the contributions and history of LGBTQ+ people, all while earning straight A's. According to the GSA Club Advisor, Maya David's impact speaks for itself in the legacy that they are leaving behind. I truly have never known a student to be so influential and make so many strides within a community. Congratulations, Maya David.
Thank you so much, Ms. McGuire. I came out of the closet in the 8th grade before I was ready for it, and ever since then, throughout my 4 years of high school, I have been the gay kid. While it was initially a role that was forced upon me, I discovered that in embracing it and leading my school in queer advocacy, I've been able to make substantial, visible change that has made my school and community more welcoming and safe for LGBTQ+ youth. In the past 4 years, I have poured all my heart and efforts into my advocacy, but all the work I've been able to do so far has been built on the foundations that previous generations of queer activists have laid for me, and the best way that I know how to honor their legacy is to continue their fight today. While the dream for LGBTQ+ equality may still not be achieved during my lifetime, I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't do everything in my power to fight for it. That's why, beyond pursuing a degree in political science at the George Washington University, I plan to make my way to Congress to fight for LGBTQ+ rights, and one day hopefully be able to pass a nationwide ban on conversion therapy in the United States. Receiving the Equality Scholarship has helped me afford an education to work toward this goal, as well as served as a tangible reminder that the work I've done so far for the LGBTQ+ community really has made a difference. While there have been tough times and isolating challenges as the gay kid at my school, I know that I'm not alone as I confront my future. Thank you so much again.
The final 2022 PFLAG scholarship goes to Abby Wallach, who is graduating from Miramonte High in Orinda to study political science at Williams College in Massachusetts. Abby was a co-founder and has been president of her school's Sexuality and Gender Alliance. She has served as a curriculum consultant, getting LGBTQ+ inclusive curriculum added to Spanish, English, and history classes, including the use of gender-neutral pronouns and the intersection of LGBTQ+ and Indigenous identities. Abby has also collaborated with the Associate Superintendent on district-wide lessons on sexuality and gender. According to the club advisor, Abby is a tremendous scholar and model citizen because she sees areas of need and gets to work to effect positive change. Congratulations, Abby.
Thank you, Ms. McGuire, and thank you to the people who have enabled me to be here today. My parents, my little sister, my friends, and everyone else who has supported me and given me the time and space to discover myself. And of course, a big thank you to the Equality Scholarship Organization. I first became an LGBTQ+ activist my sophomore year of high school, when I helped to found my school's Sexuality and Gender Alliance. But the experiences that motivated and inspired me to advocate for the LGBTQ+ community started much earlier. I remember the joy I felt attending the San Francisco Pride Parade in 2016, the year after the Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage. But I also remember witnessing homophobia and transphobia in the school hallways, observing the lack of any LGBTQ+ content in my middle and high school curriculum, and constantly questioning my own sexual orientation after being told that I looked or seemed straight. Especially as more and more states introduce anti-LGBTQ+ legislation, student activism becomes increasingly important. I saw firsthand the effect that student activism can have when I helped to organize a walkout against Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. We would have been happy if 40 or 50 students participated. More than 200 showed up. Similar walkouts and protests occurred across the country. This student activism may not seem to have a big impact immediately, but it does. It reminds us that we can't just sit back and allow bigotry to take over our country. The students who walk out of public schools today will be the college students who stage protests tomorrow, and the politicians, teachers, and parents who inspire later generations of activists. And that's why it's so important to empower students to speak up for themselves and for their communities. Wherever I end up in the future, I'm excited to continue advocating for the LGBTQ+ community. And I'm so grateful for the support of the Equality Scholarship Organization in helping me to accomplish that goal.
Sabina, Nayeli, Jojo, Rory, Remy, Maya David, and Abigail. We are really proud of your activism, and we know you'll continue on and do great things during your college years. Thank you for all of your hard work, and congratulations. Yay!
Yay! Congratulations!
The next group of scholarships are sponsored by PG&E Pride Network, the organization that founded Equality. To present their first scholar, we have another past president, Alexander von Bonter.
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm honored to present the 2022 PG&E George Cronenberger Memorial Scholarship. George was a co-founder of what is now the PG&E Pride Network, a resource group for LGBTQ+ employees and allies. Caring deeply about ending discrimination and supporting education, George suggested the awarding of scholarships to graduating high school students who were working to make a difference for the LGBTQ+ community. To reach out to eligible students, George initiated cooperation between PG&E's Employee Resource Group and the Bay Area Network of Gay and Lesbian Educators. This collaboration became the foundation of eQuality scholarships given today. The PG&E George Cronenberger Memorial Scholarship honors a student who best exemplifies their activist spirit. This year's scholar is Lucia Umeki Martinez, who is graduating from Watsonville High School. A student body co-president and president of the Sexuality and Gender Acceptance Club, Lucia has pushed the school and district to put their promises of support for LGBTQ+ students and staff into action, adding gender-neutral restrooms and raising the pride flag. The club organized a week-long celebration of National Coming Out Day as an intern with the Safe Schools Project of Santa Cruz County. Lucia helped organize and host the 2021 celebration of LGBTQIA+ graduates and the Queer, Trans, and Allied Youth Summit. The chair of the Queer Youth Task Force wrote that in U.S. Representative Jimmy Panetta's speech supporting the Day of Silence, he noted the prominent work Lucia does in their community, which has had a large impact on many people across the county. Congratulations, Lucia.
Thank you, Alexander, and good evening, everyone. I go by any pronouns, but I primarily use they, them. I'm extremely grateful and honored to have received the Equality Scholarship. I would like to thank my family for their continuous and unwavering support, my friends for being with me through the good and the bad, my teachers who constantly create safe spaces for me in school, and Stuart Rosenstein, chair of the Queer Youth Task Force, for giving me numerous opportunities to get involved in advocating for the LGBTQ+ community and to get my voice heard. When I was first discovering my identity, I became more and more aware of the issues that the LGBTQ+ community faces. There was no student voice in my community advocating for queer people, so I became the voice. And as that voice, generally I raised awareness about issues that LGBTQ+ youth face, such as frequent harassment in academic settings. And as someone who is surrounded by homophobia and transphobia in my community and in my school, it's important to me that there be more queer teachers in the public school system, especially queer teachers of color. That is why I plan on becoming a teacher at my high school, Watsonville High, in the future. I hope to inspire future generations of queer youth of color. I will be attending UC Berkeley in the fall, pursuing bachelor's degrees in sociology and English. And thanks to the Equality Scholarship, the financial burden of going to college is being eased immensely for my family and I. And from the bottom of my heart, I am extremely grateful. Thank you.
Thanks, Alexander, and congratulations, Lucia. Here to present the next PG&E Pride Network Scholar is one of the group's executive sponsors, Jamie Martin.
Thanks, Jeremy. PG&E Pride Network scholarships are primarily funded by the generous donations of employees through our company's community giving program. Our second scholar this year is Troy Alansalon, who is graduating from Marina High School and is going to UC Berkeley. Frustrated by his school district's lack of support for LGBT+ students, Troy spoke to the school board and presented a gender name change form to enable students to request a name change in school records, which the superintendent implemented the next day. With that success, Troy restarted the Spectrums Club, which painted the crosswalk with a pride flag and instituted LGBT+ inclusive sex ed. According to the club advisor, Troy creates real change in the service to others. He is dedicated to creating an inclusive environment at our school, across the school district, within our community, and also on a grander scale. Congratulations, Troy.
Thank you, Jamie. Hey everyone, I'm really happy to be here and receive this scholarship. I identify as bisexual and Asian American, and will be attending University of California, Berkeley, majoring in political science and possibly minoring in gender studies. I've always been considered too queer, too straight, and too Asian for spaces at school, and I decided why not create my own club called Spectrums, which is a queer student union for students of color. I see queer students struggling with their identity in school, both in personal and academic lives, and I see myself in their shoes. I was there once, and it hurts my heart to see them like that. And one day I just decided enough was enough and created the gender name change form, which is a student form allowing transgender students to change their name and gender on the student portal. Then with the club behind me, I created Queer Sex Ed, my district's first sex education series surrounding queer needs. I do it all so I won't have to see others struggle like me, and I do it for younger me who was teased and had no resources. I want to say thank you to my support systems like my parents, my friends, my loved ones, and my teachers for getting me through my whole entire academic career. And I'll continue to do my advocacy for queer resources and spaces at Berkeley through internships under Philippines Academic Student Services, Gender Equity, and I'm just really excited for the future, and thank you so much for providing me the opportunity to speak.
Thanks, Jamie, and congratulations, Troy. PG&E's last scholar will be presented by its other executive sponsor, Andy Williams.
The last 2022 PG&E Pride Network scholar is John Quinn, who is graduating from Balboa High School in San Francisco and will be going to USC to major in business administration. John successfully advocated to have the staff restroom unlocked so that students would have access to a gender-neutral facility, and has continued to lobby for more facilities. He also initiated a virtual support group for LGBTQIA+ students who may not feel comfortable attending a group in person. Although John didn't have a leadership position with the Pride Alliance Club, his work demonstrates that leadership is about what you do, not the title you hold. According to the club's teacher liaison, John is a natural leader. He notices ways to make something better and acts without being directed to do so. Congratulations, John.
Firstly, I just wanted to thank Andy Williams for introducing me today. I would also like to thank my GSA advisor, Ms. Gregory, for supporting me with my journey, as I would not be able to be here today if it weren't for her support. And I would also like to say thank you to all of my friends and family who have supported me during my high school career and have loved and supported me no matter what. Well, during my high school career, like many other queer individuals, I struggled with my identity and felt constantly lost with who I was as an individual. But it wasn't until being a part of my school's GSA that made me realize that I am proud to be the queer person that I am today. Being a part of GSA not only supported me as I was able to develop my queer identity, but it also allowed me to recognize the importance of queer community service and supporting one another. This semester, after a long process, I was able to succeed with obtaining additional unisex restrooms for students and staff at my school. In the future, and especially during my college years, I look forward to continuing my passion for community service to the LGBTQ community, and I hope that through my actions, I can inspire the upcoming generations of queer API youth. I am so grateful for this scholarship, not only because it will support my dreams of being the first in my family to achieve higher education, but it has also provided me with this extreme motivation and determination to succeed wherever I go in life and to always be proud of who I am, what I'm fighting for as a queer Asian American. I can all express how grateful I am for this scholarship opportunity, and all I can say is thank you so much. Thank you.
PG&E's Pride Network would like to say to our 2022 scholarship recipients,
Congratulations!
Awesome work. Yay.
Amazing.
The next group of scholarships are sponsored by Genentech. To present their scholars, we have Genentech's General Counsel and Chief Compliance Officer, Sean Johnston.
Thank you, Jeremy. At Genentech, for more than 40 years, we've been delivering on the promise of biotechnology. We're dedicated to producing groundbreaking science and to discovering and developing medicines for people with serious diseases around the world. Genentech is also dedicated to advancing diversity, equality, and inclusion. We work very hard to foster belonging for our employees. We tackle racial disparities in clinical research, and we forge partnerships to drive societal transformation. As proud and longstanding supporters of the LGBT+ community and the eQuality scholarships since 2002, we look forward to using our power to speak up, take action, advocate for equality and equity, and look for ways to expand our impact. Supporting these inspiring scholars who are emerging as the next generation of our leaders is one way of honoring them for all the amazing contributions that they have accomplished for the LGBT+ community. And that's why Genentech has sponsored 2 scholarships for high school graduates again this year. The first goes to Annika Sagar, who co-founded and was co-president of the Alphabet Club at Wilcox High in Santa Clara, along with Jojo Weller, one of this year's PFLAG scholars. Annika is going to the University of Rochester in New York to study molecular genetics. Well done. In addition to the LGBTQ+ history lessons and efforts to make their schools safer that were mentioned earlier, she and Jojo have also lobbied for the creation of gender-neutral restrooms and have worked to create an LGBTQ+ counseling group and a fundraiser for various LGBTQ+ organizations. According to the club advisor, Annika, quote, is full of initiative and approaches all her challenges with creativity and grit. She truly is the change she wants to see in the world. Congratulations, Annika.
Thank you, Sean, for introducing me. A few years ago, I started noticing how Eurocentric and heterocentric the history curricula in schools are. I was fed up because I knew a diversified history education could go a long way in helping students unlearn prejudice. 2 years ago, I finally decided to do something about it, and I started the Alphabet Club with my friend Jojo. In the Alphabet Club, we have examined the impact of colonialism in pre-existing and new LGBTQ cultures around the world, and we've also learned about how LGBTQ+ movements across the globe and across time have influenced each other. But most importantly, we've empowered students to take charge of their learning. When I first started high school, I thought I would lay low. I never thought I would be able to speak with the state superintendent of education, Mr. Tony Thurman, about shortcomings in current history education. I never thought I would lead the first Pride Walk in my school and work directly with my school principal to install gender-neutral bathrooms. I never thought anything I did would have such a wide impact, so I'm really proud of how far the Alphabet Club has come. When I go to the University of Rochester this fall, I will continue to refine my activism. My ultimate goal is to use education to make the world a better place. I want to show everyone that queer people belong in history books and academic spaces as well. Thank you so much, Genentech, for recognizing my efforts and motivating me to work even harder for the queer community.
Genentech's second high school scholar is Reyes Warney, who is graduating from San Lorenzo Valley High in Felton and will be going to major in marine biology at the University of Oregon. Reyes has been president of his school's GSA club, helping plan the Queer Youth Leadership Awards and speaking to school administrators on how to handle bullying. As a member of the Queer Trans Youth Council of Santa Cruz County, he worked to create a website where students and community members can receive resources. Reyes was also a member of GSA Network's Youth Council, helping to plan and MC the Youth Empowerment Summit and its Media Council. According to the chair of the Queer Youth Task Force of Santa Cruz County, quote, Reyes is a visionary who brings a unique perspective to all that they do. and they are passionate about creating a safer and more inclusive world for all marginalized people. Congratulations, Reyes.
I began doing community service when I was in middle school. I was inspired by my mother, who was an activist during the 80s and 90s during the AIDS epidemic. She's a queer Indigenous person herself and has been a huge impact on my life, as well as my grandparents, who were activists in the 60s during the Workers Union protests. They aren't queer, but they're Indigenous and faced a lot of racial discrimination throughout their lifetime. I plan on getting my PhD and eventually becoming a professor or even a teacher. I plan on making the future better for, the kids that come after us. I want to make sure that Indigenous students who want to study science, who are never able to, get those opportunities. I'd like to thank my parents, who have been a huge inspiration in my life and pushed me to this point, which was extremely hard because being autistic, I had trouble speaking. So I really want to thank my parents for pushing me and getting me out of my shell to get to this point. Receiving this scholarship has a huge impact on me because I'll actually be able to attend the college I want to attend. Because it is out of state, it is extremely hard to get money and it's extremely hard to pay for it because it's extremely expensive. So with getting this scholarship, I'm able to attend the college I want to and be able to obtain my dreams and work on my dreams, because getting a degree in marine biology has been something I've always wanted to do ever since I was little. Thank you.
Genentech is also awarding 2 medical scholarships this year. The first goes to Jackie Chu, who has a BS in human biology from Stanford and is now in its medical school. As a high school student in San Francisco, Jackie volunteered at the front desk of the LGBT Center. And at Stanford's Queer Student Resource Center, he served as a wellness coordinator. Jackie also volunteered as a medical assistant at Lion Martin Health Services Women's Community Clinic in San Francisco. As a medical student, he is part of a committee that successfully advocated for the Stanford Hospital to provide pronoun stickers for badges and is reviewing curriculum materials to ensure that courses at the medical school include LGBTQ+ perspectives and experiences. According to his recommendation, quote, Jackie's thorough involvement in the LGBT+ community at Stanford has created community amongst LGBT+ students and has allowed for the development of further conversation and awareness of intersectional identities through programming and outside community connection. Congratulations, Jackie.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Sean. I would first like to thank the Equality Scholarship Committee, as receiving this scholarship to me means I have a community of people who support me and believe in my aspirations. And it is really this theme of community that first motivated me to be involved in advocating for the LGBTQ+ community when I first started wanting to understand my own identities back in high school. Since then, as a medical student now, through being involved in different advocacy efforts, from creating spaces for LGBTQ+ and Asian American students like myself, to using research as an advocacy tool for health equity in my communities, I have truly had the privilege of meeting life-changing friends and mentors who continue to sustain and guide me through whatever challenge or difficulties that I have. At the same time, I was able to gain the perspectives, knowledge, and skills that have allowed me to continue positively impacting my own and other marginalized communities. I am truly, truly grateful for the communities that have been able to form, and what they have taught me continue to motivate, inspire, and sustain me. Since starting medical school this past year, I've been fortunate enough to be involved in research projects, organizations, and committees and other advocacy efforts that aim to advocate for inclusivity and to mitigate health disparities for the LGBTQ+ community. I'm truly excited that the Equality Scholarship Collaborative will be coming on this journey with me as I aspire to be a physician advocate. And I'm really grateful and thankful that the collaborative has become one of my communities. Thank you.
Genentech's second 2022 medical scholarship goes to Daniella Mcdonald. Daniella earned dual bachelor's degrees in human biology and theater from John Muir College as well as a master's degree in biology and a PhD in biomedical sciences from UC San Diego, where she is now in med school to become a psychiatrist. Very impressive, Daniella. As the first transgender woman student there, Daniella has worked to change the culture, founding the Transgender Week of Visibility, for which she was recognized with the Outstanding Graduate Student Leader Award. She also co-founded the Curriculum Change Task Force to include more transgender topics, biology, inclusivity, and best practices in classes. During COVID-19 stay-at-home, Danielle was inspired to co-found a company to develop a trans-centric dating app. Earlier this year, Daniella was featured in a BBC News article and on television, as well as in a radio piece on National Public Radio. According to her mentor at UC San Diego, Daniella, quote, is truly a gifted student who has a passion for the LGBTQ+ community, more so than any student I've worked with previously. Congratulations, Daniella.
Thank you, Sean, so much. I really am genuinely honored to receive this award. You know, it came on as quite a surprise. I think a lot of the activism that I've been doing throughout the School of Medicine has really been driven, honestly, if I want to be completely candid, by a lot of isolation. As being the first transgender out medical student at UC San Diego School of Medicine, I felt very alone. And it bothered me so much that I initially actually was thinking of dropping out. My healthcare wasn't really discussed in the curriculum, and I didn't have a lot of friends in medical school, and I didn't really know how to fit in, and I was considering leaving. What I decided to do was to sort of combat that by trying to design, you know, this Transgender Week of Visibility at the school to really integrate transgender healthcare and curriculum into the school. And I think that's really helped sort of gotten me to be feel like I'm more included in the school. So that's what initially inspired me to start the Transgender Week of Visibility, was this severe isolation I was feeling. This was started initially 7 years ago because I am an MD PhD student, and it actually, funny enough, this week is the Trans Week of Visibility now at UCSD this year. And we were able to get the Palm Springs mayor, who's a transgender woman, speak yesterday. And so it's just so exciting to see from where it started 7 years ago to now, like we're seeing more integration of transgender healthcare at the UC San Diego curriculum, and we're seeing more topics covered about transgender issues. And we are actually starting to get more accepted medical students that are transgender identified. And I really do think that, you know, incorporating better curriculum and small groups and this task force that I was involved with has actually helped sort of grow those numbers, because, you know, it truly just takes one person to inspire others to sort of enter these more prestigious and professional fields, whether you be, you know, any sort of letter in the LGBTQIA+ community. And so I'm really honored about that. I want to continue to do transgender healthcare teaching and integration in my future, as well as transgender research, which I'm really passionate about. And considering the current climate that we have right now in our country, all these different individual states passing these sort of anti-transgender laws, it really frustrates me, because trans healthcare is just healthcare, right? The types of healthcare that you're delivering to these people is not necessarily that unique, especially when it comes to trans children. You know, we prescribe hormones to a lot of children that undergo precocious puberty. We prescribe puberty blockers. This isn't something new and unusual. It's just unfortunate that different states in our country are trying to combat this for the transgender individuals specifically. And so that's really a big goal of mine moving forward, is to try to find ways to combat this through my transgender healthcare research and just integration of a better exposure of this. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. All of us in the G-Pride leadership team at Genentech want to congratulate the 2022 Equality Scholars for their amazing accomplishments and contributions to the LGBT+ community. You all are making a difference by inspiring those around you and changing the world to a more diverse and safe space for everyone. Keep up the great work.
Yay.
The final 2022 Equality Scholarship goes to Kyla Seitz, who is graduating from Redwood High in Visalia and will be going to Cal State Long Beach to study music education. Kyla helped restart the GSA club at her school and has served as its president, growing it to one of the largest clubs on campus. She's prepared presentations and lessons to provide information on LGBT+ topics that the school does not. Kyla has advocated to school administration and the school board for the addition of queer sex ed and enforcement of consequences for homophobic slurs. According to the club's advisor, advocating for education and acknowledgement of equality is a passion for Kyla. Congratulations, Kyla.
Thank you, Mr. Lauren. Growing up as a queer person in the Central Valley, I never could have imagined getting any type of positive recognition for being a leader in the queer community. So I am extremely thankful for everyone who has helped make this possible, not only for me, but for all of the young people that are getting recognized today. From where I'm from, there's little to no positive information about the LGBT community. I'm a firm believer that most of the homophobia we face out here isn't born of malice, but out of pure ignorance. I firsthand have witnessed many well-intending people accidentally say or do things that are outright damaging to our community, simply out of lack of knowledge that they were doing any harm. It is in these personal experiences that have shaped my aspirations to become a leader and an educator on behalf of the queer community. My work in LGBT activism largely surrounds my refounding and expansion of my high school's gay-straight alliance. Increasing queer visibility on campus has ultimately helped normalize the idea of being gay in a relatively secretive community. I strive every day to be the best person I can, to achieve the most I can, and to put my complete effort into everything I do, so that queer students can have someone to look up to that reflects themselves, and not the sadly common viewpoints that who they are isn't accepted in our community. I've become the face of the queer community at my high school, and in this, I've also become their voice. I go to school board, student equity, and even town council meetings to help give our LGBT students a chance to be heard. Through this, I've learned that one of the most important things in a community like my own is giving students who are historically silenced a voice. This is one of the reasons why I aspire to go into education. I strive to become a band director, not only to share the gift of music with the world as it is a universal language, but to help continue to serve as that queer role model for our youth. It is something I'm passionate about and intend to continue to do throughout my life. This scholarship will help ensure that that is always possible. And for that, I'll be forever in gratitude. So thank you.
Congratulations to all the 2022 Equality Scholars. Aren't they just an amazing and impressive group of students? Feeling inspired? Here's another short video.
Interacting with scholars just makes me feel really inspired, actually. In my daily work, I don't interact with a lot of young people, so this is just one more benefit. I would encourage someone to volunteer, because you have direct interaction with young people, and you can really make a difference in their lives by supporting their future education and learning.
When I read some of these applications, it just kind of amazes me, because when I reflect back in my youth, I did not do anything as equivalent to some of these folks out there.
I started to review scholarship applications every year, start helping the committee with the scholarship dinner, and I just wanted to get involved and give back in the same way that the scholarship gave back to me.
If you're a young person, I would say apply, because you might have a good chance of receiving the money, and I think that, we need all the support we can get nowadays, so just try it, go for it.
The chances of you not getting the scholarship is 100% if you don't apply. And even if you don't think you're qualified, I feel like a lot of times as students, we're hard on ourselves and we think that, we're not good enough, but in actuality we are more than qualified. It's a very simple process. Equality makes it that way. Just apply, you're not going to lose anything.
On the Equality Scholarship website, you can sign up for the mailing list or make a donation. The link to the 2023 application will be available on the website between November and January. Also, please like the Equality Scholarship Facebook page to help spread the word. Equality is a volunteer-run organization, and we thank everyone who volunteered over the past year on the scholarship committee, reviewed applications, interviewed finalists, and helped put on this virtual celebration. It takes a lot of people to pull this all together. And thank you, the viewers, for joining us tonight. We hope you'll be able to join us in person next year. Happy Harvey Milk Day and happy Pride. Take care and have a great night.